then last week we drew our dinosaur with a dinosaur Jurassic Cretaceous dinosaur land background, and you colored it. So this week we're going to be doing a new drawing. This one is a little bit more for our paleontologist's adventure itself, and we need to draw the Jeep, the car that our paleontologist is going to drive to get to the fossil. Because of course they can't walk there. It's usually in a mountain or in a desert or in a valley somewhere where you need a car that can go off-roading. So we usually think of Jeeps. And if you don't know what a Jeep is, maybe you'll recognize it as we draw it. So we're going to do what we call a spot illustration. Last week's the illustration took up the whole page. Today, we're just drawing and coloring a Jeep, and it's going to be smaller so that you have room to write around it, and it's going to be on a white piece of paper so that it doesn't distract from the writing. So you're going to start by making a bumpy ground, and again, this isn't a full illustration, it's just a small little one, so we're just going to have a little bumpy ground. I'm going to leave the dinosaur up, but you should be focusing on this side, so let's pull it over more. Okay, so we've got our bumpy ground on our page, and we're going to start with the shape of our Jeep. So we're going to start actually with the wheels so that we know how big we want it to be. Wheels, of course, are going to be circles. So I'm going to have one circle here and one circle here. The circles should be the same height as each other. And because these wheels are pretty big for the size of car, they actually go beyond the rest of the car. You might think of a car sticking out in front, not Jeeps. So we're going to have a straight line. Do you see how it's got a little tiny bit of space? It's just floating right above the wheel. And then we're going to have it come back past the wheel, but we've still got some space, a little bit of a diagonal line. And then it's going to go on beyond past that back wheel, okay? And then it's going to come down. So your drawing should look like this. Go ahead and pause if you need to catch up, if you need to make sure yours looks like this. And now we're going to add the bumpers. These bumpers are important. They keep the Jeep safe and the people inside of it safe. So we're going to have the first bumper. It's going to go along the edge. So it's going to go a straight line over the top of that front wheel, a diagonal line, kind of going to about the middle of the wheel. So it should go a little lower than that. Middle of the wheel. There, we've got it. Another straight line that goes all the way to the other wheel. Diagonal to go above it. Straight to go on top. Diagonal to go down below, and now we're going to have it curve beep to make a little bumper. And then the bumper itself, because right now we just have a shape of a car, the bumper itself is fairly thick. So to do that, we're going to have a line up, a line over. Do you see how I'm following what I drew before? I'm copying the line so that I can have a bumper. And now it's all of a sudden already looking kind of like a Jeep. So let's go ahead and put some details in the wheel. We're going to start by adding another circle on the inside. And then in this is the tire, and this is what's called the hubcap. So to make our hubcap look like a real hubcap, we need to add some half circles. There's going to be 5 half circles. So it might help you to do one at the top, side, side, corner, corner. But it doesn't have to be like that. You know, you can turn it just as long as you can fit about 5. Okay, so I've got 5 little things for my hubcap. I think they're like, I'm not sure what they are. You can ask someone in your family who knows cars better than Mrs. Hendricks does. Now we're going to add a couple more details that are really specific to Jeeps. The first one is going to be the lights, the headlights. So right here we're going to have a curved line, like a quarter of a circle, and then we're going to put 3 lines. Using your pencil, those lines should be nice and thin. since I'm using a marker that's kind of thick. And then something else that's very unique to a Jeep is the tire. So come around to the back of the car, and this is the spare tire. But here's the fun thing, even though we know that tires are circles, when you take a tire and you turn it, it actually looks like a rectangle. So you're going to have kind of a rectangle floating off the edge, okay? And then we're going to have our hubcap show up as just a curved line that sticks out the middle. And then so that we know that people can look at this and know it's a tire, we're going to add what we call treads. These are tire treads, and they're wavy lines that go down the tire. Speaking of treads, if you want to add some treads to your front tires, you can. That would look like this. Bump, 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 all the way around. You don't have to do that. Maybe you don't like how it looks. But these treads are what help Jeeps go off-roading on dirt and rocky areas. Now, this is a cool car, but no one can get into it or look out of it, so we need to add a couple more things. We're going to add our windows and our doors. So first we're going to add a door by following this diagonal line, dink, a little over, and then it's going to come a little bit more over, all the way down. And remember, you don't want it to touch. You don't want it to touch your existing lines. We want to go around them all the way down. Okay, so we have our door. To make it a door, we need to add a window and a handle. So for our window, we're going to do another inside, inside, down, over. Then the handle is going to be a small rectangle. Okay, and Jeeps have what's called a soft shell. If you think of like a turtle's shell, Jeeps have a soft shell. So, ooh, look at my hand ruining my poor drawing. We're going to go make a thin line that comes about as low as that window, and then it's going to come all the way back. Now that makes a rectangle, doesn't it? So fill in your rectangle. Oh my goodness, I messed up there. With another small rectangle for our window. Good. And the last thing we need is a mirror. Mirrors are important because the driver needs to use the mirrors to be able to see what's behind them. So we're going to have a little square right there with a teeny tiny rectangle coming off of it. Okay. And now we have a Jeep. I'm going to bring you closer. If you want to pause so that you can copy my Jeep, go ahead. And we're going to color it today too. So the fun thing is, since this is a car, you get to make it any color you want. Any color you want. The tires will probably be black. The bumper is normally black or gray. The shell is normally black. But the body of the car, do whatever you want. Some Jeeps even have fun designs. I've seen camouflage Jeeps before. I've seen red, pink, yellow, brown, anything you want. And there's nothing else on the page. So you should remember your careful coloring tips. But the fun thing is you only need to worry about 1 and 2. Okay? You will outline in black marker when you finish. And you do need to do careful coloring with no scribbling. But you don't need to worry about coloring the background because you're not. This Jeep, you can color a little bit of the ground if you want, but this one will be floating on a white page. So I'm excited to see your Jeeps. Have fun and good luck!